Welcome to MindShifters Radio. Today is Tuesday, February the 10th, 2026. And I was just saying we went out to celebrate, and it's because I finally heard back from the publisher and I finally made all the changes they wanted and they accepted it and it's being printed. Yay!
Yay! Fantastic.
Hurrah,
Oh my
hurrah.
gosh. Bravo.
Yeah.
Bravo to you. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. So welcome, everybody. Hello, Susan B. Welcome. I called her this morning since she was my beta reader and my editor and let her know personally that it was now being printed. So, so glad that's behind. It's been like a week every day, 2 or 3 times a day. You need to change this, you need to change that. And so finally, I came up, satisfied all of their requirements. So excited. So welcome, Michael.
Thank you, dear heart, and welcome, everybody. Delighted and honored that you're here. And I wonder what's on your mind today. Anybody have any wonderful thoughts, challenging thoughts, insightful thoughts to share with us?
I watched the show last night, not without my daughter. Did lots
Oh.
of it. Yes.
Oh, you're still standing or sitting. That's pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that insane?
It's not only that, I just breathe, lots of breathing and just seeing how the non-being mind energy corrupts the mind.
Yeah.
And also the cleaning of my own inner masculine and feminine was happening. Of the lifetimes I would have played that role as a masculine. And then being able to rest fully internally with my own inner masculine feminine, that I am safe, I trust, that to really being fully safe in my own being. And I could see watching that show where it goes all the way back to the original origin when I separated from God. That separation I can feel, and it's right here in the Sacred Heart, and that the chasm is starting to close. And all the lifetimes when it wasn't safe for the feminine to be the full expression of herself, and the creation I made in the outer world, or the image I made in my mind and projected that out in separation. Yeah, it's a big deal. This morning in meditation, it was really profound to be able to rest in my own presence, in my own inner masculine and feminine. And there is no separation in truth. Those emanations aren't separate. We just perceive they are.
True.
So
Yep.
It is the cleaning up of that and returning back in the truth of God. In that, even energetically now, as I'm claiming that in language, it's really important. So thanks for that movie. It was exactly what was needed.
Yeah, it's powerful. If anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, I'd suggest that the movie or Not Without My Daughter. I thought it was interesting the way they portrayed him as so solid when he was here in America, and then as his family railed on him, as the stress built, as he set goals framed by his family, he just went into the same insanity they were in.
Exactly.
Living in America, he'd extracted himself from it, but back in that environment, bang, 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 and he's doing those insane things. And to meet your comment about not being safe to be the feminine, the reason why the masculine isn't functioning as a true human being is because it's the same exact issue, the same exact principle. And I got a nice piece of my puzzle this morning, actually based in the codependence, interdependence session, where we had 4 generations of Andrea and Faye's family. And you'll recall that I mentioned that I had these tears come up in this little. I didn't identify exactly what the thought was, but I did some breathing on it this morning and kind of got a major opening for me around that one, and another level of insight with the breath. And that was that as a kid, as a young male, there was nowhere to lean into. The same exact issue, there was just nowhere to lean into. My mom was awesome, as a kid. I mean, she was there for me so much. However, at one point she shared with me, and so I can see where that lack of safety came in as a kid. I had an uncle that was pretty nasty guy, and he was over visiting with my mom. And my mom, the last 15 or so years of her life, I spent a lot of time with her. She loved this work. We did a lot of processing. And at one point, she kind of did her confession of one day she was, as a baby, like, maybe a year, 2 years old. And my uncle was there, and I was being, bratty, crying, whining, whatever. And he goaded her and goaded her and goaded her. And like, this was probably one of the biggest guilts of her life. And subject to his goading, she dunked my head under the water and held me there.
Oh.
And in my breath this morning, I got that was where the trust was broken there. Even though she was there for me so much, that really broke that energetic trust. And then I could see several other places where that was a core issue. And then what really flooded, and I've been working on this, the breath aspect of this book, that's all Greek to me. And what really came in is that wherever it's going on in the external world, if you'll go to that third level of breath from the Aramaic Rukudakucha and breathe that breath is always, you can always lean into it. You can always trust it. It will reveal to you whatever you need to know. It'll resolve whatever you need to resolve. And so that was a really sweet, bittersweet, because it touched into some heavy stuff, but at the same time was just like a whole new level of
Wow. Yeah.
personal experience in relationship with breath. I've been talking about that for a while, that I've been doing this breath practice, but it was just a whole new opening of that. And the for me, and I don't know, maybe it's the last layer. It seemed like maybe it's the last layer. At least it may not be, but it seemed like for me the last layer of there's nowhere to go for trust was healed, and that is always there with us and never leaves it unless we deny it, unless we shut it down.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's huge. And I can also, so even this goes further to what we talked yesterday, because even though we're holding ourselves conscious, present, and active in love, there's still an underlining thread that, and finding that there's still an operating system underneath, if taking you back to the memory of the core person you would lean into for safety in attachment, and also just knowing that you can rest, that was broken, like you said, as a baby. So of course there's still that piece of ourselves walking in this world, even though there is evidence to show that it's a trusting world. There is still that piece in there. So I'm glad you found that.
Yeah, it's powerful. It was sweet, and I find my breath just we went out and did some celebration. Jeannie's book is in the printer's hands with the first sample coming through, so we went out to celebrate that, and I just noticed 3 or 4 times that just naturally my breath is moving at a whole new level. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's
pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. Yeah, amazing. And and it's just, we get to go to these deeper levels. I can feel it. Even you bringing that, I had the dream yesterday morning about, potentially past life in Turkey, and then to watch that show. And I could see fundamentally, and it has to do with me not trusting my inner masculine, and it's not separate, and that's still reconciling. That's just the starting of that, resting into my own presence, that I get to truly trust in the inner self, where it's really one. There is no separation between the masculine and feminine. So, somebody's at my door. I got to run.
Okay, cool. Welcome, Joan Tufts. How are you, young lady?
I'm very good. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Anything exciting to report? That was so cool to hear about the the that there was no requirement for speaking for your son to step forward into a new space once you did some of your inner work. That was like just awesome.
Yes, it is. And I wanted to thank Andrea or Angelic
Presence.
and her family, because your healing has created healing for me. So thank you so much.
And I don't know for sure, are we going to do another session, Faye, where you're going to do some communication with your mom? Is that the plan? Or did I misunderstand that?
She might be driving, so we did talk right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we yesterday we were texting back and forth, and not at this moment. Doesn't feel ready to go
Okay.
to that, and so we just honoring
Cool.
that, and said we can, when she feels ready and resourced to do it, we'll come back and even though we're going to go on with the process, the next weeks, but when she feels ready to do that, then we'll make the
Cool.
space for it.
All right. Has anyone had any insights, or do you have anything to share from doing the 3 early memories exercise, where you filled in the blanks for your 3 earliest memories of conflict? Memory 1, memory 2, memory 3. Life is, I am, I feel, people are. Anybody have any insights to share from doing that exercise?
Well, it's become clearer and clearer to me that my mother saying, "Stop that bawling or I'll give you something to cry about,"
Mm-hmm.
it had a profound impact on me.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of healing to do there, because what that little girl made it mean was, if I say what I really feel, I won't be loved.
Mm. Wow, that's a powerful power person message, and that's the passive power person message. When observing circumstances, I make that up as though they had said it, and that. Now, I don't know if have you touched into the power person worksheet?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, we'll send you a copy and suggest that you might want to take that one and specifically with mom go through
Right.
that power person worksheet. And it's a long, deep, the whole idea is literally to get to every piece of mind energy that constructs this power person dynamic that shows up and drives our behavior. So, and if you need any support with it, we'll certainly be there to support you. But that would be, just from the way you're expressing it, that would be a really powerful piece of healing for you to do.
And I can see that it's generational. My father once said, "As long as your mother's talking, I know we're good." So, it was clear to all of us, if my mother wasn't talking, something.
Somebody was in deep doo-doo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Wow, that's pretty powerful for Dad to say that.
Right.
To live in a world of, or the original definition of walking around on eggshells, right?
Right. Right. And the thought just occurred to me. I think he had that error thought pattern as well.
You mean he communicated that message as well?
He did not communicate unless he was happy.
Hmm. So there was some projection in that thought. Uh, if mom's talking, it's okay. It was he was speaking about himself as well.
Right.
Hmm. Wow, you got a double whammy there. Power person worksheet on each side around that issue. I can see why you're realizing how impactful it's been. So know that we're breathing with you and holding the space, and that's the kind of thing. Back, I don't know, about a year ago, I was doing a still point session on myself, and the message that came through was I had to breathe to the depth where I could unlock what had been locked in bone.
Wow.
I was verbally in my head given that message. That's what I needed to do. And it was just an emphasis on you have to go that deep. It is literally locked in bone, and you're going to have to soften that and bring it out. So that's the depth at which you're going to want to be able to bring your breath in and let loose.
That rings true to me, Michael.
And that'll open a whole different, is there any shadow when you said in the show the other day, you brought up that your son, you did some work and it reflected he changed his mode of communicating with you. Was there any of that dynamic that played out with him as a kid, with you as the mom? The message that you're going to get punished if you tell the truth or if you express what's really going on for you?
I don't know. I remember one time when he was about 16 or 17, I was really on him about something, and he walked out the door and yelled back over his shoulder, "Fuck you," which my children never said things like that to me.
Yeah.
So that's
Breathing with you on that one, Mom.
Yeah,
Had to be a pretty intense interaction.
it was.
Mm-hmm. Have you done any worksheets on that memory?
No, but I'm right.
That might be a good one to do, and maybe do some responsibility communication with him around that. Gently, recognizing that maybe you were being, maybe sharing with him how, as a child, you'd been oppressed. This, if you express what's really going on for you, you're going to be hurt or you're not going to be loved. And that there may have been some of that component in relationship to him. And if so, apology for it. And, see if he has a memory of what was going on with him that day, that he was able to turn to his mom and say that sort of thing, which
Right.
I'm sure in your family system in the South was a big no-no back then. Like beyond a no-no.
At that time, we lived in D.C., but they just didn't talk to me that way.
Yeah.
Until he did.
Yeah, until he did. Yeah. Well, I can remember that one of, if you don't stop that crying, I'll give you something to cry for. And I can remember thinking, I'm crying. I have a reason. Like, I don't need another reason. But the threat is like, it's so prevalent in our culture, this whole game of threat.
Yeah.
And it's so inhuman to stand either as the object of a threat or the one threatening it. Harms both. It's such an assault to the integration of the human system and the functioning of the breath. It's like, whew. So thank you for opening that one up and holding a space for safe communication with him, perhaps, if that's appropriate, and just,
Yeah, he's coming to get me Friday or Saturday to take me back with him to Mobile. So that's at least a 3.5 hour drive.
No, and he won't be able to escape.
Right. Nor will I.
Nor will you, right?
So I'm really looking forward to that, going down there and coming back a week later.
Hmm. Holding a space for sweet communication to open and for him to be able to own and share what was going on for him. That'll probably be, that may be something that he's blocked or been ashamed of or guilty about since then, and has carried in relationship to you, and would carry in relationship to any woman he'd have a relationship with. So it will very likely, if you can create the space for that to open, it will very likely be a big relief to him to be able to free himself of that load.
Right. Yes. I'm really looking forward to this time with him.
Yeah, I can, on a personal level, I can fathom saying something like that to my father, but I could never imagine saying something like that to my mom. It's just,
Well, I was a single parent at the time, and so whatever he expressed, probably he expressed to me more than to his father.
right. Well, know that we'll be holding the space for your drive on Friday if that comes up in the conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just want to say again, angelic presence and your mother and grandmother and daughter. As I was doing some breath work earlier today and trying to imagine myself doing that work in front of this group of people, I can't imagine myself doing that at this point. And I'm just so, so grateful that you and your family are able to.
Well, Andrea's here, and so is Mom. That's Faye. So both of them are on for to receive that appreciation expression. So
All three are there. They're all
yeah.
three of them there, Michael. Can you see them in the camera? There's
Yes.
beautiful Alex and Faye and Andrea. Thank you
Oh,
guys so
cool.
much. Yeah,
Thank you so
All right.
yeah. Beautiful.
The
Beautiful,
regular radio show mornings at my house. And this time everyone showed up in my bed to do the radio show.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know there's that awesome principle spoken in the Course in Miracles: when you're healed, you're never healed alone. And another thing that the Course says is millions yet unborn will benefit from the work you do.
Yeah.
And that was a powerful piece of work in that codependent session. That was really very
what
awesome.
I see right now as I'm looking in the camera, because I see just the wealth of support for Andrea. And I'm sitting here crying, by the way, when Joan was sharing, like just weeping, just that I'm just breathing, whatever's meant to be discharged for myself and for the group. And
There have been
and
any of
also
those
for
issues
Joan.
between you and your son, right?
Yeah, and I was talking to him today, this morning. He's right about to go into an exam, but yeah, I can feel some codependence going on in his relationship, so with his girlfriend. So, and for some reason to share with Joan, a couple of things. One, also that she's supported. And I can't, what it would have been like for her as a single parent, and her perfectionist nature, which you've talked about before, wanting to do your best. You always give your best in the world. And then even with the breakdown of the marriage, and I can feel there's energy there, not understanding like what went wrong and all that, but wanting to be the perfect wife and the perfect daughter and the perfect mother, all the perfect, and holding yourself to those perfect. There is no perfect, or we're in denial of perfection. We're not meant to be perfect. And yet the false imaging placed upon you that there was a need to be perfect, to be accepted and to be loved. And just breathing into that. And that's an opportunity to let that go. Because you are perfect already. The fact that you breathe, you're already stating your perfection. And then the other piece that came through when you're talking about your son, and we said to F off, there's may have been a part of you that wanted to say that to the world, say that to your mother, say that to your husband, say that to life in general, just because I can feel the rage in there, that many times you would have felt that, but you held the perfection nature to always keep it together. But inside, not having a safe place to let out those feelings that you want, the exactly what your beautiful son, that was reflected back, but it's also an aspect coming that may have come from your inner self to the world.
Possibly.
Yeah. So I just wanted to offer that. That was floating in the field to be shared. So
There's a story about the Southern Baptist preachers up there just preaching up his hellfire and brimstone. I mean, and the Lord made the trees perfect and the sky perfect and the sun perfect. The Lord made everything perfect, and this hunchback sitting in the back of the church gets up all hunched over and raised hands. But preacher, what about me? And the preacher looks at him and says, you is the most perfect hunchback I have ever seen. So our imperfection is also perfect. And will bring us the opportunities we need, especially if we're willing to breathe. Anything for anyone else to share before we move back to the healing through relationships material we've been talking about?
I also really resonate with your share, Joan, about, feeling unlovable. And I've been really being with those aspects with myself lately, that I fundamentally feel unlovable. And like, there's big parts there's parts that I deem lovable, like my spiritual nature, or myself as a nurturer, with my job when I used to work for the school district and loving children. And, like, I have these aspects that I do believe in performance are lovable, or in perfection, because in my own pseudo solution, I can't really say that. I thought I had figured it all out, that if I perform like this, I'm lovable. And I had a situation yesterday where there was a eruption between my daughter and I. She was getting surgery and I wasn't able to show up for her. I went, like, I was there physically, and I wasn't able to be present emotionally, as she expressed her emotions and anxiety. I went into shutdown, and then not being able to be there for her emotionally. And then I came home and I called my friend, and Lynn's is so awesome, how she'll really just put it so straightforward. And, I said, I'm on the phone, and she's saying, let's go with the sensations and be with this, part that feels so unlovable, and other things, and what the shutdown is about. And it's like, no, I got to go inside. I got to go lay in my bed. It's safe there. And she really supported me through this part that runs. It's like to show up and feel all these different feelings means that I didn't realize it until now. It's more clear that when all those feelings come up, it's so complex. Like, I don't even know what it is. There's so much up. And that's actually the part of me that really feels unlovable. And she sat with me through it. We have a good friendship where we can even swear at each other or whatever, like in our upset, and we'll always be there. Susan and Lindsay and I have that pact. And I was in full resistance. You're not hearing me. And, like, all this resistance is up. And she's like, you can choose to run, or I'm here, and know that I'll love you anyways. And then I just broke into, when I was able to have that conversation, I broke through to a different space where I haven't really allowed people in those moments. And so when those parts of me that feel so unlovable, and I get to step out and at my own pace, you know, I was able to actually break through to a different point yesterday. And I think that's actually the point where I do shut down. All those complex emotions come up and I shut down, I deactivate. And because if I don't feel them, and if I don't need, then I might be able to preserve this idea that I am still somehow lovable, and to have her be able to walk me through to the other side and stay. Because in the past, I've really manifested partners that aren't able to stay. It's too much. And I didn't know how to stay. I'm still trying to figure that out. You know, I take Susan's words that collect before you direct, because I want to fix it either for myself or my kids. Like, I just want to fix this so it's not happening. Like, this is so intense. It becomes this space where it's hard to be with. And so yeah, I wanted to share that breakthrough that I got to go through yesterday, and also just really share about the resonating with feeling unlovable, and where that perfection, you know, I can point to this place of origin, not in one incident, but just this, from the belief of being unlovable. I thought if I could figure it all out and get the roles figured out, and if I did them perfectly, then I wouldn't have to feel that unlovability. And now facing it it's pretty intense. And I'm really grateful that I got strong people in my life that can take a little hostility and or just the big emotions.
And you said something there is important. Thank you for the share. Michael, I need your help on this one for Andrea. It just slipped in there energetically about being too much. Okay, so can you help with a mind shifter, Michael? Around, so she can look into that. I think I've also have it. That's why I dialed into that right away.
Yeah. Well, my offering would be that, of course, you're never going to figure out. Remember, that's the number one pseudo solution of the non-being mind. It's one of the number one points of the codependence intensive is you're never going to figure it out. However, you can forgive it. And what you want to be forgiving is the thought disorders. Remember, you don't have feelings out of nowhere. Feelings are the effect of a cause, and the cause is thoughts. And one of the things that my take authorities have done down through the ages is they are professionals and experts at putting into people's minds thought disorders with which they can drag them back into being under control anytime they want.
Yeah.
And the thought disorder, the number one thought disorder that breaks our connection to being, to the breath, to love, is always something to the effect of, you're broken. There's something wrong with you. And it's just a thought. I just put a link in if you want to copy it and get a copy of the poster from the website on the physiological effects of emotional suppression. And literally what it shows is how those thought disorders shut down the endocrine system until we're so weak that now we're just great slaves. And so my offering would be that to work toward breathing and forgiving as to this thought that you're broken, that you're not lovable, that could be the form that came in. And or it may have been, as Joan just pointed out, it may have been a passive power person thought. Oh, I'm not good enough because. And so I'd start doing worksheets around that idea And since you asked Susan for a mind shifter, how about picking a number from 1 to 40?
Okay. And one just came in. I'm just going to share while you were speaking. So it came in, it said it is, and I could see patterns of lifetimes. And it's the mind shifter is, it is safe, easy, healing, and true for me to express my authentic self in this world.
Good one.
And for all of the witches on the call, and for all here, I can see.
Can you
Jeanie.
repeat it again?
I have a,
Sure. And you're a wizard, mister. I'm just saying. You also
I'm
could
going to
have been
invite a
witch.
change of I'm going to invite a change of language.
Okay.
What they called witches were females who understood healing on an energetic level. Let's talk about healers, because
Yes.
that word is,
Yeah, thank
it's
you for
got
all the
so much
healers.
baggage. Yeah, it's got so much baggage. It's been so trashed and so much terror in people's minds. The women who were burned, pardon me, here in America were simply primarily healing children. But, you know, some men are pretty weak, and white weaklings make all kinds of insane rules and make up all kinds of projections. So I just
Healers.
suggest we heal that one. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you, because even the energy that with exactly that's gripping into the non-being mind energy by me even bringing in then that word. So just to repeat for everybody, I did put it into the chat there. It is safe, easy, healing, and true for me to express my authentic self in this world.
Yay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll join you in that. Confirm that with you. And people cherish me for it. How about adding?
Yes.
And people cherish me for it.
Thank you. That's
or maybe
interesting.
everyone cherishes me for it.
Everyone. That's interesting because, you know, there's something operating in my field. And I've noticed this for quite some time. How do I get from here to there? I even said that to you when you did the first quantum still point on me. Knowing who I am on the inside and knowing what I want to bring to the world out there. And how do I get, and I even said that on the table, I was taking right back and I was crying.
Yep, I recall.
How do I get from, I don't know, or I'm denying myself to get from here to there. I can feel it in my field. There's a separation that I can't seem to close.
Well, that's the work of Yeshua. That's the whole body of work of Yeshua is exactly that.
And I know the truth of it. Yeah, I know the truth of it, and I can't. There's that.
But the operating self doesn't know the truth of it. The operating self that's made of thought disorders that have been played out and reinforced generation upon generation upon generation upon generation. And, you know, if you were sitting in Yeshua's space in that thing where he gives them instructions, he's got the disciples in private giving you instructions of what to do. Your being would go, oh, yes.
Yes.
Your non-being mind would do what the disciples that left did. And it would say, too hard a saying, who can hear it? I have to take all that on and work through it. Yeah, that's just what has to be done.
Yeah, that's.
And it's a hard saying for the non-being mind, for the false construct that shows up in our minds as who we are. It's a tough one.
Again, and just thank God for the tools and the support to do. It's really that's been there, but it's really front and center now. And I can relate to being on the table with you exactly, and I can feel that exact feeling. How to close the chasm so it comes back to the oneness that I am.
So to close the chasm, all you have to do is move the gunk that's in the way out, and that's forgiveness, and that's breath, and that's all the tools to move that energetic accumulation of the generations out of the way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I got to show everybody what I'm seeing in my mind's eye, just so this is Very interesting. Okay. So this is what I'm seeing. And you imagine it's going this way. We're actually closing it. So it's got the V. What we are is God. It's like if you imagine the rip in time that Einstein talks about, that's just coming in right now, showing it as so what we're doing, this is all God, the truth of who we are. God is it. And now the false self has been operating the mind. And as we use all the tools that you've created, we're closing the chasm.
Yeah.
Where it will continue, where we will come back into the oneness, the entire illusion collapse. This is all the illusion here.
And this is exactly where Yeshua said, in order for you to live, you've got to die. That fake false self, that carbon-based memory self, has got to go. So breathing with you, and how about picking a number from 1 to 40?
Okay, my wonder from 1 to 40 is 22.
22. Okay, that's the section on control issues.
No.
No, that's
Jeanie, are you
the wrong one.
listening?
You got to pick another number, a different number, and then from 1 to 13.
I'm gonna go with 3 for whatever reason. I want to pick another number, but they're pushing in 3, so I don't know. My control wants to go
that's
to.
the one. That's the one you need. So 22-3 is, and I'll put it in.
Michael, you just disappeared.
My unconscious mind is controlling it. Don't be saying that out loud. It's like, that's it. We're gonna kick them out.
And follow my highest guidance.
Sorry, you kicked out there
we
for a
couldn't
minute.
hear any of it.
Yeah, it kicked you out. We didn't hear anything.
Really?
Yes.
No resistance to this one, eh? I love it. So am I back?
It's like, I can feel it. It's like, we're not going here. I'm just saying, like that. That's saying, okay, you're pushing me to the limit now. I'm just letting you know. Okay.
Okay, now it's in writing.
Oh dear.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can now.
Am I
Perfect.
back? Okay.
Oh, okay.
So true personal power is the ability to continuously breathe, be aware of, and follow my highest guidance. So the ego wants to control. The ego thinks control is power. This is the mind shifter. That's the power of using those numbers. I love it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yeah, I could feel that. Your voice went silent. I could feel that. We're not
That's
going
interesting.
here. The ego's like,
Nothing changed on this end, so that's really interesting. Oh my dear, goodness sakes!
yes, sirree. Thank God we spent many lifetimes together, and you just put me through it.
Oh,
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
all right. So, Andrea, do you want to pick a number from 1 to 40?
13.
13. So let's see what Andrea comes up with around that same topic. So 13 is healing regulatory speech, and then a number from 1 to 13.
7.
7.
You picked exactly the numbers that were in my head that I wanted to say.
They wouldn't let you.
That's exactly the number 13-7 I wanted. And the higher being said no. Oh, thank you, Andrea. Oh my God.
So when he gave me that one, I wrote it down, and 13 came in my mind when he asked you,
Yes.
and I wrote it down. So that's interesting.
Thank you. Oh,
And the
thank you, my dear.
regulatory speech. See, years ago when I went through that, that period where I was so dedicated
Enlightenment
to
period,
meditation.
right?
Yeah. I've hesitated to call it that, but and
Own it. Go for it.
one of the biggest things that I did, I was guided to watch every word I spoke, and I moved very slow. And So I would feel into the energy of the word. And even if I spoke a word and the energy felt off, I would restate it. And regulatory speech was one of the main things outside of meditation that I actually focused on. So
Mm.
for this to come up now, I'm like, I've been really watching my speech because I'm noticing again how the energy current, my speech is taking me through these victim thought forms again that I wasn't aware of these past couple of years. And just by refocusing on what my words are, I'm feeling so much more sovereign and powerful, and actually did a big journal session last night about how when I speak into the outside world, what I'm perceiving as the outside world, or perceiving anything in the outside world, if I've shifted from connection within myself and primarily focus on the outside world, that's when I feel victim to what's happening. And like somehow I've taken my sovereignty and held it out here. I haven't lost it. I'm just holding it out here, maybe instead of rooting within. So
And you and you're
that's
using thought disorders to hold it out there would be my offering. And all you need to do is delete the thought disorders.
exactly. And that comes through also the regulatory speech when the thought
Yeah.
forms come and I speak them out, instead of witnessing it and then speaking it differently, they shift that way.
The practice. So 13.7 is, and I'll paste it in, if I or others speak ill of me, I automatically breathe, use the tools I have, and go into self-talk of healing and aliveness.
Mm.
And things we're looking at is an app that you'll be able to select numbers and use the whole MindShifter list to in this way, just with an app that you can put on your phone.
Wow, cool.
If we had the cash flow to do it, there were probably 20 different apps we could be creating, but they're going to have to come. So recognize that just when you have a feeling, that feeling is always secondary. If we treat feeling as primary, it seems like, well, there it is. What do you do with it? Well, I'll try to feel something else, and that goes into fantasy. But recognizing that feelings are nothing but shadows of thoughts. Then if I have a feeling, a sensation, and an emotion that's off base with being, then I want to look for the thought disorder, forgive it, and just free myself of it. And oftentimes in relationships, when one has a thought disorder, what they do is they link that thought disorder to their partner. And then they have a pained reality in their mind. And because they've linked, remember we talked about the file folder effect, they've linked that thought disorder to their partner. Literally what happens in the mind is that energy is integrated, massaged into, and turned into a picture in the mind that we think is them. If I went up to the roof and I cut the wire open coming from the antenna to my TV, I could search in there for 500 years and I will not find a picture. But I turn my TV on and there are pictures. How does that happen? Well, there's this converter in the TV that converts frequencies into pictures. Our minds do exactly the same thing. Our minds turn thoughts resonated by our goals into pictures. If I'm focused on you and I have a thought disorder and I'm in blame of you, you made me, I'm going to take that literal thought disorder in me and I'm going to use that frequency, that energy, that pattern to build my brain's image of you painted on the inside of my eyeballs and believe that you're the one who's causing this in me. And then, in effect, what I'm doing is I'm stuck in insisting that you're supposed to change my mind. And of course, when you get two people doing that, which is kind of the state of the world, each one standing there saying, look at the pain I'm in, it's all your fault, and you have to fix my mind, and nobody can fix your mind but you. But in relation, because we've been brought up in this denial game, this, the thought and feeling, or the thought and the speaking that somebody else is responsible for what's moving in me, I dissociate from the thought, and that very thought is what this person I'm in a relationship with resonates in me. And I'm talking now literal. The picture that shows up in my mind, the same way as the picture that shows up on my TV, is built from the frequencies that come in through the channel that I'm tuned to. If I have a thought disorder that I link into my brain's image of you, then I'm literally using that frequency the same way as it comes in an antenna and turns into a picture on the TV. It turns into a construct called perception in my mind. And I'm sure that you're the only one that can fix my mind. That's one of the base challenges in relationship, and to reverse that pattern, when we're talking in the context of this idea of healing through relationships, to shift out of projection language, to shift out of the BS that comes from denial into, oh, I'm feeling this is mine. I would love your support in healing this issue in me. And I noticed you have the matching bag of garbage. Would you like support in healing that issue in you? And now you got a whole different game happening. Now you've got a team for healing rather than, people to blame it on. So it turns everything around. Does that fit? Does that make sense, everybody? Thoughts, questions, answers, ideas? Jonas, I look at you, my mind just keeps going back to this opportunity with your son and how awesome that is.
Yes.
And how he just happens to be coming to pick you up for a 3-hour drive on Friday. I love it. I love it.
Okay. And I think reminding myself to be patient with myself, that changing these thought patterns can be like turning a ship around.
Yes. When you realize that the thoughts you think about yourself, I'm talking about each of us, the thoughts we think about ourselves, didn't start with us. We came into this giant, steamliner floating through the ocean of 1,000 generations of thought disorders about self. And so you're right. It is like turning an ocean liner around in the ocean. It doesn't happen quickly. That's why I believe that group, when Yeshua told them that's what they needed to do, like the inner group of the disciples, that's why the larger part of the group said, too hard is saying, who can hear it? And then the scriptures say, and they walked with him no more. They just left. And when you ask people to be responsible for what's causing their pain, because most people are so hooked into the projection. I mean, I know you're the cause of my pain because look, I have this. Look, let me take a picture of the picture in my mind, and there you are. My pain is right inside of you. It must be caused. I can see it. I've got the evidence. Yeah, and it's all BS. It's all belief system. so we can shift that around and simply be in that space of, first of all, recognizing, there's a time when I believed that everything was your fault. And I got that there was a time when you thought the same. And now I'm recognizing the truth is a whole different game. So let's start to move out of, and one of the challenges in moving out of the old patterns is because there's so much pain attached to the blame game. And shifting the language, as we're working on in the codependence intensive, that shifting out of projection communication, and projection communication to fit in this space is when I speak as though, and I use words that reflect my belief that the construct my mind has made that's painted on the inside of my eyeballs is caused by you, that's projection communication. And I've asked this question of, I don't know how many thousands of people over the years. How many were ever brought up in a household where when mom or dad were in pain, they said, oh, I've got some pain coming up in me. Gee, son, daughter, would you support me in healing my pain? I think in all the years I asked that question, I can remember one person who there have been a few people who put their hands up to that question, but when I quizzed them further, it all fell apart. But there's only one person I can remember that when I quizzed them, they really did have a parent that actually did do that, was able to speak in terms of responsibility communication. But the whole world's, well, first of all, we've never been taught what communication is. Most have been taught that we use words to win, to overpower, to abuse, to get what we want, when the purpose of words is to communicate. And communication is to move a reality that I have in my head, an image, whatever it's made of, to bring it forward in a way that I can place it in your mind in text so that you capture and experience the same reality I have. And responsibility communication means that I use words that reflect my knowledge that this is a reality in my mind that belongs to me.
And that one girl that said that, her dad, before she came along, had attended your workshops.
Yes. Yeah, actually he'd come and he'd spent 2 months at Heartland, and she actually was with him. She was, I'm remembering, I think she was about 9 when she came and did the whole summer with him at Heartland.
Wow.
And her big insight at 9, their parents had divorced, and she had been pretty much estranged from her father up until that point, and he had her for the first time in her life. I think she was 9 for the summer. And her big insight when this was as an adult that she shared with us, that summer, was that all of those early years, her mother had convinced her that it was her fault that she and her father split. And what she got out of that summer, that intensive that summer, was the healing of that she recognized and was able to let go of the belief that her mother had pounded into her that it was her fault that her parents split. That was huge. So welcome to the world of responsibility communication.
I'd love to share this. This goes along with what you're saying. I met this man at the farmer's market a few weekends ago, and he was sharing about his 6-year-old that is going through like mold toxicity or something when you've been exposed to too much.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, and I just said, oh my gosh, like the honor that this boy has taken on, for him to take this on for 6 years old, to be working through for the family systems. Like, I was just overwhelmed, and the man really understood what I was speaking to, and he said that his son had recently said to him, like his dad had, talked about his courage in one area of his life and how beautiful he was. And he says, "Of course I am, Dad. That's how you see me behind your eyes." And he knew
Yeah, that's
that
awesome.
he was
Yeah,
behind his dad's eyes, like in, his
yeah.
own mind. It was so beautiful to hear that
Cool.
in my reality.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty powerful. Ari was about 4, and she's really into medicine, into the body, into understanding anatomy and physiology. And we she was 3 or 4, and we got her a doll, about a 12-inch doll that you can take the muscles apart, you can take the brain out, you can take the lungs out, the heart, the liver, intestines, all of that. And she was playing with that one day, and she said, "Papa, I want to watch a video on YouTube about the body." And I said, "Okay." So we picked up the one she wanted. It's one where it's a kids anatomy. It's on kids YouTube channel, and they have a cartoon figure of a human with all of the organs inside the body, and then the organs kind of fall out of the body on the floor in order of size, and then each organ sings its part in the body, what it does. And when the eyes came to sing their part, they rise up and they sing. Says, "I am your eyes, I am your eyes, I see the world around you." Ari looked at me, she said, "Papa, they don't understand, do they? We see with our brain, not with our eyes." It's like, you got it, girl. It is pretty amazing. So how's everybody doing?
Good.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's after 2:00 already. That was a fast hour. Thank you for joining us, holding the space for awesomeness, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Blessings. And everybody, Wednesday night, 7:00.